In a quiet town in southwestern Nigeria, the air always seemed filled with the music of looms. Wooden frames creaked and clicked, spinning threads of bright reds, deep indigos, and shimmering golds into long strips of cloth. Down one narrow, dusty lane, a modest workshop belonged to Amina, a young woman recognized throughout the region for her extraordinary talent as a weaver. Amina's workshop was small, yet every inch of it exuded creativity. Stacks of dyed threads, some bought at the bustling local market, others prepared from natural pigments at home, lay neatly arranged on low wooden shelves. Amina took great pride in her craft, rising before dawn each morning to warm her hands over a small clay brazier and then settle before her loom. Her mother and grandmother had been weavers before her, and now she carried on this ancestral tradition with unwavering devotion. Though weaving was respected in her community, it was often considered men's work in some other regions. Yet here, tradition held that if a woman displayed extraordinary skill, she too could earn her place as a master weaver. Amina, with her nimble fingers and sharp eye for patterns, had done exactly that. Her textiles were sought after for celebrations, weddings, naming ceremonies, and festivals. She created bold stripes, intricate motifs, and swirling designs that honoured her Yoruba heritage and told the stories of her people's history and beliefs. As night fell each day, Amina would retire to her small room in the back of the workshop. Outside, the gentle hum of crickets and distant chatter of neighbours lulled the town to rest. It was in these quiet hours that she found her greatest inspiration, through her dreams. Many nights, she dreamt of new colours and designs, visions she diligently reproduced on her loom the following day. Word spread that Amina's patterns were not only beautiful, but somehow blessed. They brought luck, prosperity, and unity to those who wore them. One particular evening, however, brought a dream unlike any other. Instead of drifting into peaceful slumber, Amina was whisked away to a place she had never seen before. In her dream, she stood on the bank of a wide river under a moonlit sky. The moon itself shimmered on the water like polished silver. As she stared at the river, the reflection began to swirl, forming shapes and lines she'd never seen in any cloth before. She was both mesmerized and frightened by the pattern, for it seemed to pulse with a power she could not comprehend. When she awoke, her heart pounded. She could still picture every curve and symbol of that mysterious design. Immediately, she grabbed a small sketchbook she kept beside her bed and began to outline the pattern. Each stroke of her pencil felt electric, as though she was channeling a force beyond herself. But as she worked, an unsettling heaviness grew in her chest. Something told her this design was not like the others. It was, in some unspoken way, forbidden. Undeterred, Amina told herself that no pattern was truly forbidden. After all, she was an artist, a weaver. It was her duty to bring the beauty of her visions to life, was it not? Yet she remembered whispers from her grandmother's stories, tales of motifs so powerful they could alter destinies. Some were used to mark special royal ceremonies. Others were said to invite misfortune if woven without the blessing of certain elders. The question weighed on Amina's mind. Did her new dream design fall into this ominous category? The next morning, she rose early and headed straight to her loom. The coals in the brazier glowed softly and the sun had yet to rise. She prepared her threads meticulously. Some dyed a deep sapphire blue, others a near luminous gold. As she arranged them, she felt as though invisible hands were guiding her. The patterns from her dream swirled in her mind. Her fingers trembled with excitement and dread. She felt an urgent need to begin weaving, but couldn't ignore the caution echoing in her thoughts. Just as she was about to start, an elderly weaver named Baba Karim stepped into her workshop. He had taught her father many weaving techniques years ago, and still dropped by occasionally to offer wisdom. Seeing the unusual arrangement of threads, He paused. His wrinkled face tightened with concern. "It came to me in a dream, Baba Karim. A very strange dream. I've never seen such a pattern before." Baba Karim walked closer, peering at the sketch Amina had drawn. His expression darkened. He recognized hints of symbols belonging to a rare ceremonial cloth, rumoured to have been woven centuries ago for an Oba, a king who sought divine power. Stories claimed that if woven incorrectly or without proper rites, the cloth would bring misfortune. Baba Karim knew this all too well. He had once encountered a scrap of that ancient design in the archives of a distant palace. He gently placed a hand on Amina's shoulder and warned her to tread carefully. Traditions in their community were not mere stories. They were living guides that protected and bound them together. Amina, torn between her desire to create something extraordinary and her respect for tradition, listened anxiously. Part of her wanted to abandon the design altogether, yet another part felt that perhaps this pattern was revealed to her for a reason. Could it be a blessing in disguise? That evening, Amina could barely sleep. She found herself standing again in that dream by the moonlit riverbank. The symbols beckoned her from the water's surface. She could almost hear them humming with energy. This time, her grandmother appeared in the dream, her form shimmering like a spirit from the old folk tales. With gentle eyes, she whispered, "Honour our ways, Amina. Seek guidance from the community. Do not weave alone what belongs to all of us." Startled, Amina awoke. She lay in bed, heart pounding. Her grandmother had passed on many years ago, yet she still felt the warmth of her presence. She realised then she could not proceed without consulting the elders. This design was no simple pattern. It was tied to the history and spiritual beliefs of her people. It demanded collective wisdom. At daybreak, Amina gathered her materials: her sketch, a strip of cloth with the initial woven lines, and small offerings of kola nuts and bitter kola. She went to the compound of the oldest living elder, known affectionately as Iya Oja, Mother of the Market, for her deep knowledge of local customs and trade. In Iya Oja's courtyard, palm fronds rustled in the breeze, and the earthy smell of freshly pounded yam drifted from nearby kitchens. Amina respectfully placed her offerings before Iya Oja and explained her dream. She unrolled the cloth with the beginnings of the design. Iya Oja studied it intently, her keen eyes scanning every thread. Then she recounted an old legend, a design called Ibùdò, the pattern of destiny, had once been woven to celebrate the crowning of a powerful Oba. It was said to connect the physical world with the spiritual realm, granting prosperity if woven under the right rituals, but inviting ruin if done otherwise. My child, such patterns are not meant to be woven by one person alone. If you choose to complete this cloth, you must follow the time-honoured customs, and you will need the blessing of the community. Iya Oja then called a gathering in the town square at dusk. People from every corner of the community came: farmers, traders, artisans. The smell of roasted corn and groundnut soup filled the air as everyone settled around a large bonfire. Amina, standing at the canter, unrolled her partially woven cloth. The flicker of flames danced across the vibrant blue and gold threads. A hush fell over the crowd as Iya Oja spoke of the ancient legend and Amina's dream. Together, they performed a small ceremony, offering prayers, pouring libations of palm wine, and inviting blessings from the ancestors. Elders chanted, while a local drummer tapped out a rhythm said to connect the living with those who had passed on. Amina, hands trembling, waited for a sign that she was indeed the one meant to bring this pattern to life. Suddenly, as the chanting reached a crescendo, a gentle breeze rose and swept through the square. It felt refreshing, hopeful. The flames of the bonfire danced higher, illuminating the cloth. Some onlookers gasped, while others broke into hushed whispers. Iyaoja smiled, sensing a benevolent presence. The sign was clear to all. The community approved. This forbidden pattern, now transformed into a shared journey, could be woven for the benefit of everyone. Over the next few days, Amina wove under the watchful guidance of Baba Karim and Iyaoja. Neighbours brought gifts of dyed threads. Children peeked through the workshop door, fascinated by the loom's rhythmic clatter. A spirit of unity filled the air. Each thread carried the prayers and good intentions of the community. Amina lost track of time as her shuttle moved back and forth, weaving the shimmering design row by row. When the cloth was finished, it radiated a beauty that took everyone's breath away. Twisting lines of gold danced against a midnight blue background, forming symbols that seemed alive. The patterns resembled water under moonlight, a direct echo of Amina's dream. At the cloth's unveiling ceremony, drums roared in celebration. People danced in colourful attire, and the elders recited blessings of prosperity and peace. The cloth was displayed for all to see, reminding them that tradition and innovation could coexist when guided by wisdom and unity. From that day on, the fortunes of the town seemed to improve. Harvests were plentiful, trade routes brought new opportunities, and the sense of community grew stronger. People believed the cloth's patterns had woven them closer together, not because it was magical by itself, but because they had collectively honoured their heritage and respected the knowledge passed down through generations. Amina continued to weave, but she never forgot the lessons learned from Ibùdò Ayi. She realised that her gift thrived best when shared with others, rooted in respect for the past, but open to new possibilities. Indeed, innovation in artistry was valuable, yet it was the community's blessing and her ancestors' guidance that allowed true prosperity to take hold. And so, the forbidden pattern became a bridge, linking old wisdom with new visions. Through collaboration, it transformed from a source of potential doom to a tapestry of hope. Young weavers travelled from other towns to study with Amina, eager to learn not only her techniques, but also the powerful lesson that great art, like life itself, grows best when nurtured by the hands and hearts of many.